All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome. So, this is our last summer transition series webinar. So, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't joined us before, just a little rundown of how this works. So, it's one-way audio, so you'll be able to hear us. We will not be able to hear you. Instead, we have a question and answer box activated. So, if you have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to just drop them in the Q&A box. And myself, I'll be moderating the session and also answering questions because it's about our office. But I'll be moderating it and I'll ask the questions for you to make sure that we get your answers. So today is Welcome to Duke. So we've heard from advisors and we've heard from your peers and campus partners. So we want to make sure that we answer all of your questions as far as getting to Duke and what to expect when you first get here. So we have some members from New Student Programs, myself and Nicole, and we also are joined with a representative from International House, Esra. So yeah, if you want to introduce yourselves, I guess. I kind of just did, but you can do it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Esra Mason, and I work at the International House. So if you have any questions about the international orientation, I'm happy to answer.
Great, and I'm Nicole Ponticorvo. I serve as the Assistant Director for New Student Programs. Welcome to Duke first and foremost. We're really excited for you to come in just about a month, which is, wow, that's amazing. But I'm here to answer your questions about anything related to move-in, orientation week, pre-orientation programs, and really anything else that you could think of will help at least direct you in the right place, to the right place. So send on those questions.
Yeah. So to get started, oh, and I'm Casey Terrell, by the way. I feel like I never introduced myself in this. I'm Casey Terrell. I'm the Student Development Coordinator in New Student Programs. So like Nicole, we work with pre-orientation programs, move-in, orientation week. I work specifically with transfer orientation and the transfer students, so all that good stuff. So let's get started. I think we have one question so far. So the question is, if it's about housing, do the dorms have ironing boards / irons, or must I bring my own?
Great question. I do not believe that the dorms have ironing boards or irons. So that would be something that you may want to coordinate with your roommate on to determine if that's something you'd like to bring, but no. And I will also direct you all to a great packing list and some general suggestions, which is in your Blue Book on the back of the living tabs. And on the back of the living tab, there's several things that give you a sense of the items you should be thinking of. And remember, you don't have to, bring and pack everything right away. You can also kind of settle in and see what you actually need and what maybe your roommate might bring before you go and purchase, everything, so you don't have duplicates.
Yeah. And we did have a question that I forgot to mention. Yes, this recording will be recorded and we'll post it later, similarly to how we've done the rest of the recording. So it is being recorded right now. All right, next question. What are some of the most memorable moments of move-in week?
Wow, that's a really great question. That's a nice intro too. So I would say that's definitely a personal thing, right? There are going to be moments and experiences that you have throughout your move-in and orientation week and beyond into your Duke experience that are going to be really special to you, and that's going to be so unique. But what I will do is highlight just some of the things to look out for orientation and move-in from both a logistical end, but then also from that memorable, we are really excited about you experiencing. And so to start off, move-in day, the big day, mark the calendars, for the class of 2023 is Tuesday, August 20th. And so move-in happens as it's a campus event. It's many staff members cite this as their favorite time of the year as well. So each residence hall on East Campus has an assigned move-in slot. So that's really important to remember because you don't want to just show up whenever you get here to Durham. You're going to want to pay attention to your move-in slot. Our orientation schedule is posted on our website now, at least a very solid draft of it, and it has all the slots. I'll read them over as well. but also know that you will receive a specific email in your Duke email account that dictates and informs you of your move-in time. And that also will include a parking pass, which you would want to print out if you were going to have a vehicle accompanying you to campus with your belongings, and you'll want to have that in your dashboard so that you can get onto campus at the right time. It also tells you where specifically with a map to go in order to keep our traffic flow moving. As you can imagine, with over 1,000 students moving in roughly a small amount of hours, there's a lot going on. So definitely keep in mind of that. I'll just give a brief synopsis of when each dorm is moving in. So the early morning shift, which is 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., that'll be moving for Trinity and Jarvis. So one of our largest and then our smallest dorm. Our morning shift then, our next morning shift will be from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., and that'll be for Gilbert, Adams, Brown, Allspa, and Wilson. Followed then by our midday shift from 11:30 to 1 p.m., 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's for Randolph, Southgate, Giles, and Bassett. And then the final shift of the day, the afternoon shift, is from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., and that's for Pegram, Blackwell, and Bell Tower. So those are the slots that you'll be moving in, and you'll get that information in your Duke email. So please always be checking that for not only move-in day information, but for really so much information that is coming your way. If you have any questions later on in the summer or have trouble locating that email, you can always email our office at studentorientation@duke.edu, and we're happy to help you access that pass. But for now, what I would say, back to the memorable moment piece of the question, is that move-in day is very exciting. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of emotion, both positive excitement as well as nerves. But when you arrive to campus, you will be immediately greeted, after you make it through a little bit of a line, which we expediently move through, you'll be greeted by a series of really hundreds of students who are volunteers in leadership positions, as well as staff members who are volunteering from across campus to help greet you. And so they'll be welcoming you, saying hello, passing out water. They'll also be directing you on where to go. When you move in, we ask that you try your best to label your boxes and your belongings that are, if you're bringing a vehicle with you, with your room number and your dorm name. That's because we actually have student leaders called first year advisory counselors, or also known as FAQs, which you may have already heard a little bit about. You may have also started receiving little notes from them via the mail or via email to welcome you. But these FAQs are ready, they're hydrated, they're going to be moving in all your boxes and helping you carry everything right up into your room. So we want to make sure you label everything as clearly as possible so that we avoid misplacing belongings. So that's going to be a very exciting process. You'll get to chat with them, but also hear them cheer and dance. And so that's a real memorable moment. That's why these students even decide to do this, for some of them several years in a row, because they just love providing that exciting welcome for you all. So that is going to be kind of the first step. You're going to your dorm, you're settling on in. Then parents, families, whoever is operating your vehicle, if that's the case, you will go and park in an assigned area on a different part of campus. And then you'll shuttle on back over to keep settling in for the rest of the day. And your next stop after you go to your residence hall to pick up your room key or your Duke card, if your hall has Duke card access to the room door, your next stop would be the marketplace on East Campus, which is the hub of dining and kind of student life on East Campus. In that space, you'll have a series of check-in stations to stop at, and one of them will be getting your orientation schedule with your Duke card, if that's not something that was already at your residence hall in certain cases. You'll also pick up different pieces of information. You might want to, if you didn't take your Duke card photo, which we encourage you all to submit in advance so that you can avoid that hold up at move-in, but you may see the immunizations, student health team to finish up any lingering immunizations you need, and you can consult with the Office of Information Technology. There'll be some bank representatives available. So there are several kind of areas of information that you might be able to stop in, but you're going to first start at your residence hall and then move to the marketplace, and then take the rest of the day to settle in until some of the fun activities we have that evening, starting with the class welcome, followed by a carnival.
Yeah.
That was a lot. So, but it's all really memorable. I promise. Try to soak it in and enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Very thorough answer. Well, we are waiting for questions. So if you have anything that you're curious about Duke, about Durham, about that week, about I don't know, anything, feel free to drop it in the Q&A box.
Esra, can you give us a little overview of international orientation and maybe just general tidbits that you would want to share for any students?
Yeah, sure. So the international orientation will take place on August 18th, Sunday, and August 19th on Monday. It's a 2-day orientation, but this year we have a new program called International House Community Engagement, which will be on Saturday, August 17th. This will really give an opportunity for students who apply and get confirmed for the program to get a little bit of sense of what Durham looks like, engage with the community partners and learn about history of Durham, and engage with Durham residents actually. So before you get to explore the campus, you'll get to actually explore Durham. If you register for the international orientation, the move-in date will be Friday, August 16th. So you'll have a little bit of an earlier start for the move-in and like getting ready for the orientation and everything. If you are coming by yourself, if you're not traveling with family or parents or anything like that, we have volunteers, community volunteers that can welcome you at the airport, and that can help you check in and move into your dorm. Otherwise, we'll have volunteers and also our students, IHOPs. You may or may not be familiar. You probably heard from them over the summer if you're an international student. They're called International House Orientation Peers. They will be also ready to welcome you and help you move in and settle in your dorm on Friday, August 16th. And there will be other activities throughout this program as well. For instance, we will have dinner with some faculty members and iHouse staff, International House staff on Friday after you move in and settle in. On Saturday, if you're not doing the community engagement program, we will have campus tours, both on East Campus and West Campus. Again, our peer leaders, our IHOPs will be facilitating these campus tours, and your family members are welcome to join it as well, so you can get a bit of a feeling of the campus, see where we'll be meeting for the orientation program. And as far as the orientation program goes, on Sunday and Monday we'll have some panels, and you'll get to meet some of our campus partners, but it's really more about building relationships and getting to know each other. You'll get to meet students from all different backgrounds all over the world. So it's a really good opportunity to build relationships and make friends. Also, on the second day of the orientation on Monday in the afternoon, we'll have like a mini resource fair where you'll get to meet lots of staff members from various offices and departments, so you can ask them questions, you can find out about events that are coming up. So it's really about connecting with each other and also meeting your IHOPs, your International House Orientation peers, who can really share their experiences with you and really assist you navigate Duke in your first couple of days and longer.
Great. On the same vein with International House, we have a student asking, can I participate in the International House Committee program while participating in Project Search, which is one of our pre-orientation programs?
Mm-hmm. So if the days are overlapping, which they do, we recommend that you pick one of the events. It's really sad to say that, but at the same time, because the days overlap, we kind of have to ask you to choose one of the programs, unfortunately. Wish you could do both, but.
Is the International House Community Engagement Program an all-semester/year thing, or just during orientation?
So this is actually a one-day program for this year, but there will be other opportunities throughout the year and other collaborations that we're working on to give you other opportunities to go out in Durham and explore opportunities that you might want to take advantage of. If you're interested in volunteership and if you want to get to know Durham, what's fun to do, where to go, we have all kinds of information on that. You can also learn from your IHOPs about those programs and what's available to you as Duke students. But in short, the community engagement program is going to be a just one-day program for this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a good launching point. Like, it doesn't mean you have to stop just after that one day.
Exactly. In fact, the staff members that were collaborating on this are also part of Duke. They're also our partners who can connect you with resources in Durham, because their whole thing is really connecting students with Durham and volunteership opportunities. And other resources that are available to you. So it will be a really good opportunity to ask questions and learn about Durham's history and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I know there are a lot of current students that that work, whether like work or community service work in the Durham community. Like, one of the students that I work with, one of her biggest passions is food insecurity. So she works at different like food pantries in the Durham community. So if that's something that you're interested in, there's definitely avenues beyond that one-day program to definitely get connected and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, great. Next question is, can you explain the process for purchasing books? Can they be ordered before arriving on campus?
Yeah, great question. So it really will depend on whether or not the classes in which you're registered have publicized that information, whether it was an email from the faculty member that explains what textbooks you need, or it's information via Duke Hub that indicates the particular books that you would need for a particular course. So it's possible, and it would be fine to start ordering some if that information is public. You could do that through Blue Devil Delivery, which is a service that our Duke stores partners with, and that's a real easy way to do that. Information on that is in the Blue Book as well, behind the orientation tab, which is the green tab. So there's information on both textbooks, ordering that, computers, and other things like linens and microfridges, and then those items would be available to you upon your arrival. If you, I would just encourage that you think about potentially waiting a little bit. Sometimes when you get into a course, you will find out that maybe some books are optional, or perhaps they change something in the syllabus, and so you don't want to buy things too early so that then you're stuck having to return them. You also may actually change some of your classes. The add and drop period is open now. It'll continue for a little while into the summer, and then it will happen again at the beginning of the fall semester. And a lot of times, you will find either because you were waiting for another class to open up, or a class that you're in is just not what you pictured and had hoped for, so you decide to drop it and then change it for swap it for a new one. So that again would kind of preclude you and make you maybe want to just hold off a little bit and just give it a little more time until you place those orders, whether it's through Blue Devil Delivery, which would be a great advanced option, or through other vendors outside that you have then shipped to campus.
And kind of a follow-up question to textbooks, are textbooks only available through Duke's bookstores?
No, they are not. Many are just available on the internet through whatever companies, Amazon, other services. The Duke store does, specialize with their partnership with Blue Devil Delivery, does specialize in making sure they have the books that Duke classes require. So you may want to, if you'd like to do some digging on your own, you can look in other places, but the Duke stores is often a nice and easy option and convenient option.
Yeah. It's really ultimately up to personal preference. I know students who don't like hard copies of books and they were able to find like digital versions or versions for their like Kindle or tablet. So it really is, it's up to preference. All right, we have a few questions came in. Let me check where I'm at. Are the move-in windows the same for international move-in? Did we cover that?
So the international, if you're attending the international orientation and if you're moving on Friday, August 16th, the move-in time frame is going to be from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. But if you are arriving later, you will be able to still get into your room, but you will have to call the RA on call, and their numbers will be posted on the door of Southgate, I believe. But we're not really assigning a time frame because people are coming from all over the world. Arrivals can vary, so we're not limiting to a time frame that you have to abide by. Yeah. So hopefully that answers the question, but please feel free to follow up if you need more details.
Great. Next question, are there any events during O Week that we have to register for in advance? If so, how does that work?
Great question. First, just to make sure O Week, everyone is on the same page, is orientation week. We call it O Week for short. There are only a couple orientation events that are optional that you would have to register for in advance. So orientation itself requires no registration. We are expecting you to be there, and we are excited for you to be there, so please be there. There will be, it'll be indicated on the schedule which events and sessions are mandatory versus optional. So definitely pay attention to that because you'll for sure want to be at the mandatory events, and the optional ones are more pick and choose and also knowing yourself and when you need time to relax and kind of create that space for you. The two events that pop into my mind that do require an advanced registration, one is called Duke, Durham, and Beyond, and it is our faculty outings, which are great opportunities to engage with a faculty member from Duke in a smaller setting, and while doing an activity that's really generally not having anything to do with the classroom. So you might be going hiking with a professor, or you might be attending, going to a museum and exploring. You might be walking around some local Durham neighborhoods and stopping at some bakeries, grabbing lunch together, chatting informally. So they're really great ways to get to know your professors in those kind of casual settings. We are getting ready to launch our registration for faculty outings, which should happen next week in our Duke Digest email. So again, check your Duke emails because that's where it's going to really be launched. And it's first come, first serve, so be on the lookout for that message, and it'll have descriptions of the faculty outings. Those happen on Saturday during orientation week, so that's a space that there's flexibility in the schedule. You don't have any mandatory events happening, so you can feel free to participate in those. The other event that comes to my mind is the Women's Center brunch, which happens on Saturday as well. It is called, it's got a really awesome fun name. It's called Fearless Focused Female, the Women's Center Breakfast. That requires early registration, but you just have to register by August 21st for that by emailing the Women's Center at wcbreakfast@duke.edu. So you could start doing that now, and they'll be like, wow, they're already registering. Or you could wait a little bit till when you get here on the 20th or the day before. So those are the two that come to my mind.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add is on the transfer front, I don't know if there are any transfer students in this right now. If there are, heyo. For the transfer orientation, there are a couple of social activities that are separate from the first year student orientation schedule. One of which is we're organizing a trip to the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. So the Durham Bulls are the AAA affiliate minor league baseball team here in Durham, and their stadium is located just downtown, which is like right down the street from East Campus. And so we'll be sending out an RSVP in the Transfer Digest just to get an RSVP and head count. That way we can order tickets. But yeah, otherwise everything Nicole said, and we'll put reminders on. They'll be in your Duke email in the digest, but we'll also be putting them on the official Class of 2023 Facebook page. So, let's see. All right, we have a couple of questions about roommates, rooms, stuff. So, how should students go about splitting dorm appliances with their roommates? I think the biggest thing is just communication. So once you figure out like where you are and who your roommate is, reaching out and figuring out who already has what, who is comfortable bringing what, and really what the two of you or multiple of you want, just to make sure that you're on the same page, and then also communicating like who is going to get what. I know it might be awkward because you just met this human and might not already know them, but early communication really is key to make sure that you don't end up with like 5 mini fridges because there's no space for that all the time. But yeah, I think communication is the biggest thing for that. Do you have any other?
No, definitely. I think that's a really great idea. I would also echo that there is a fridge and a mini fridge and microwave option through Blue Devil Delivery. So as you're communicating with your roommate in advance, that may be a nice convenient option for you, particularly to your question about appliances. But Casey is so right, like having those conversations with your roommate about how you want the space to be used and giving yourself a little chance to settle in and know your space, because the rooms are all different dimensions. So I know there's this eagerness to know like exactly how big my windows are for maybe some of you. Maybe some of you just don't really care about that right now. But know that like there's going to be a lot of time to settle in, and you'll want to get to know your space before you start buying too much. And I think that's a good kind of piece of advice to follow.
Yeah. Next, about rooms, what items or services are already provided by Duke? So for instance, bed rising, underbed storage, wardrobes, mattress cover. I'm going to add closets to this list, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, all of the residence halls are very unique. So one thing to keep in mind, especially kind of that connects to this question, is that the mattresses can be different sizes. So you'll want to just make sure that you're buying the correct kind of sheet bedding. The only dorm that has full-size mattresses is Trinity. The others all are twin XL. So that's kind of easy to remember. Trinity is the only full. So in terms of bed rising, Duke does provide the service of lofting beds if that's something that students would like to request. Those happen once you get here. You would submit a maintenance request, and your RA, your resident assistant, could help you figure out how to, do all that, because that's also how you submit any issues that you have at the room. If a light bulb is out, or if your doorknob is jiggling or something, you would submit a maintenance or a work order, a maintenance request. In terms of like general bed risers that you could find at like Bed Bath & Beyond and such, that's more up to you if you would like to get some of those. Again, might be good to see the space, see how tall the bed winds up being once you get in there first. It takes a little bit of time for our facilities team to loft your beds. So just also know that that's not going to be an immediate thing that happens the day you move in. So you'll want to just have some patience in that respect. Under the bed storage, it's going to vary. Generally, the beds don't have that. It's a possibility with some renovation projects that there could be drawers underneath. Again, this is where you need to kind of see the space and kind of see what you have to then decide, do I need to maybe purchase some other under the bed storage? There will be some type of either wardrobe or kind of indented closet in all the spaces. They will vary in size. And so again, just keeping in mind to wait until you can actually be physically in your room to get more of those very, very specific nuances of like how to maximize your particular room. Mattress covers, they do not come with mattress covers. All of our beds are really high quality and are cleaned thoroughly, including the whole like room before you enter the space. So that would be a personal choice if you'd like to purchase like any additional mattress covers, which some people decide is something they'd like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then any other like specific kind of housing related questions can also be directed to the East Campus Housing Office.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working right now. I'm pulling up the email here, and I may have to say that. I may have to come back at you with that information, or if you'd like me to post it and send it to you, just write a message in the chat box, and I can do that. But if you Google Duke East Campus Housing, you will find it, and they will be able to help kind of just direct you in some other questions that are specific related to the rooms.
And just to tack on to that, I know our office has received a few questions about getting things here versus like bringing things. So if you decide to wait into purchase once you're here, there are a lot of stores nearby that you can order and like set your pickup location for Durham. So you don't necessarily have to, if you're coming from like California, you don't necessarily have to like buy everything there or pack everything there and then bring it here. So there's definitely that option too, just throwing that out there. All right, some good old advice. What are some items that students didn't realize they needed until they got to Duke? Any thoughts?
I'm looking at, we have a student watching me from a different room. Hey, come in here.
I was about to say.
She might be able to provide, this is all on the fly, so Allie Perez, the wonderful Allie Perez, one of our first year advisory counselors, FAQs board members, is in the room. Is there anything that you think, like something you didn't anticipate, or what was the question again? Sorry.
Items that students didn't realize they needed.
Yeah. Again, probably personal.
This is really silly, but I remember it to this day. My orientation leader, so I don't know how laundry is set up here. My orientation leader told me if you're gonna buy if you're gonna get a laundry hamper, get a laundry hamper with wheels. And I thought that it was the silliest thing, but our laundry at my school, our laundry was like down the hall, and I would watch people struggling to like lift their fully loaded laundry hampers, and I just like wheeled mine effortlessly down the hall. So
yeah, that would apply here.
Yeah. I lived in one of the dorms that have elevators, and so I would just roll my laundry onto the elevator and roll it out, and I still use it now, even though
I still have mine. Yeah.
I think in like the craziness of the move, it's easy to forget that you'll need school supplies actually, and like notebooks and binders and folders. And in the college transition, I remember not being unsure on what I'll need because it's different from high school where they may tell you what supplies you need for each class. But I remember on my first day of classes bringing just one notebook and one pen, or like a pen, and feeling out how I thought I would need to take notes for each class, and then buying my school supplies either at like a local store, or the Duke store actually sells notebooks for a reasonable price, and binders and things. What else did I forget or felt that I needed?
I think that's a good start. I think another option, if you would like to get like a student perspective, is posting that kind of question even on the official class of 2023 page. Thank you, Allie. Thank you. You could post it there. You can also try the Duke Peer Advisors Facebook page. They're generally advising on academic things, but they are students, and they also can provide a lot of insight, and they're really responsive. You can also ask your FAQ. So as you receive your letters or emails, definitely ask that person or other upperclassmen that you wind up connecting with, whether it's via social media or once you get here, about what was it that was helpful to you. But I think that's a great question to keep asking.
Yeah.
And same thing, you may be already, if you're coming to the international orientation, you may be already in touch with your IHOP. So you can always contact your IHOPs with those questions as well.
Great. Are full-length mirrors provided, and can they be hung over the room entry door?
That's a good question. I don't think they're widespread in being provided. There might be some of the older residence halls that have existing mirrors from the past. So this would be one of those things that I would hold off on purchasing that kind of thing until you get to campus and see your specific room. You can also email the housing office. They might have a better sense specifically about which halls would have a mirror and which wouldn't. But over the door mirrors generally could work, but it'll depend if you have like a closet door, because I'm not sure if that'll work on your like actual door that you want to lock.
Yeah.
And make sure that you keep secure. So, yeah.
I know students who have like, I think command strips will become your best friend if they are not already, because you can command strip like mirrors to the wall or to a closet door, or to the back of your door, or wherever.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily a hung over door, but like hang it over your door, but maybe there will be places to stick it. But yeah, definitely I would wait until you see it. Wait until you figure out with your roommate, because you are sharing a space with them, so you want to make sure that it's in a position and in a spot that works for both of you. How does laundry work? Do we use our Duke card to pay, or do we need change?
You would use your Duke card to pay. So none of our on-campus laundry facilities take change anymore. So you would actually load your Duke card with some flex money. And you could either do that at certain locations, little kiosks on campus, whether it's at the Duke Card office or in some other campus center locations, or online. So your Duke Card is really important. So I'm glad this came up. It is really like your access point. For some of you, it'll be to your physical room door. For some of our halls that have been renovated in that respect and have that technology. For others, for everyone else, it'll be how you get into the actual main doors of your residence hall. It'll be how you access your meal plan and your board meals at the marketplace. It'll be how you also use things like food points, which are in addition to your board meals, just dollar-to-dollar equivalents of food points that you can spend at on-campus eateries and even some local merchants that are on points in the area. So definitely submit your Duke card photo so that you can have that ready for you on move-in and not have to kind of go through that process, even though it is possible and we will definitely get it done for you. It'll just make it easier for you on the front end if you send it in. Information was located in this year's or this week's Duke Digest to your Duke email. It's also in the Blue Book. In the living section, I believe, and yeah.
And also there is a Duke mobile app, so you can get it. You can get your Duke card straight on your phone. It is available for iPhone and for Android. Yes. So you can have access to your Duke card right on your phone. So I know a lot of places you can just hold your phone up to it. And it will like scan you in, or you can use it to pay for things. So, yeah.
I'm also just going to direct everyone to the Housing and Residence Life website for Duke. If you click on like first year neighborhoods and houses, you can actually click on each of the dorms, and it gives you a little more of that information, like is it a closet, or is there a window AC unit? Are the closets built in, or is it a wardrobe? I don't see anything about mirrors to that question, but it has things like is there an elevator in the building? So that'll be a good place to start, and then any questions that linger from there could go to the East Campus Housing Office. So yeah, lots of good info.
We had a question, how much is laundry? Do you
know?
You
know, I don't know off the top of my head. I could do a little Google search. Google is everyone's best friend, but I don't do my laundry here yet. I don't know why I would, but I'm trying to see if I can find it. If I get it throughout the webinar, I'll come back to that. Otherwise,
I would ask the Facebook page, because there are current students that are on that page that can answer that question for you.
I'll find it out. I'll figure it out in the next.
We have a question about lofting again. Can parents loft the beds on move-in day?
Ooh, that's a
They
good
need a washing
question.
kit, right?
Yeah, I would generally kind of steer clear from that, just
Mhm.
because you want to avoid, damaging anything and then having to deal with a charge. So I would really steer clear of that, and just kind of let the process kind of run through in terms of submitting the work order. That would be my best recommendation, to avoid any of that, and also so you can avoid that hassle.
Yeah.
And for laundry, I got a live text update from Allie Perez, our wonderful first year advisory counselor board member who's here today. I believe washing is about, this is an estimate, about $1.25 for washing and $1.50 for drying. So each cycle would be that.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah, but that's at least a ballpark to get you thinking of the general idea.
All right, so we have a little less than 15 minutes left. So if you have any questions that haven't been answered, please put them in and we'll answer them. Is there anything? One thing, I guess, shameless plug.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't heard about it already, 30 Days to Duke is our, it's another video series that comes out of New Student Programs, and we're actually hoping to launch on Friday. So 30 Days to Duke, like I said, it's a video series, and we release a new video every single day leading up to move-in. So you'll get to recognize some faces of the FAQ board as they kind of show you around campus, get you, give the lowdown on different things. They've toured identity centers. We have a video on what are some common Duke lingo, walking you through the marketplace. So what does your dining hall look like? What do different common areas of residence halls on East Campus look like? So definitely be on the lookout for that. They were a lot of fun to film, and I know that the FAQ board members are really excited to share that with you. So be on the lookout. It'll also hopefully get you hyped for coming, and give you a little glimpse as to what life at Duke is going to be like. So 30 Days to Duke, we'll post it it'll be on our YouTube channel, but we'll be posting the videos on the official Class of 2023 Facebook page as well every day. So it's exciting to come out.
Yeah.
We had a write-in response. The question was asked on the parent Facebook page, and someone called to get the answer, and it's $1.50 washer, $1.25 dryer.
Oh, okay, so we had it just backwards.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, ballpark.
Yeah, ballpark. So thanks for the clarification.
Yes, thank you. Next question. Let's see. Do all personal effects have to be removed during every academic break?
That's a great question. So the residence halls, I'm going to also direct you to the Duke housing calendar. There's a very comprehensive calendar broken down by month, which actually even tells you when you're going to receive some information over this summer. So it's really great. It's at studentaffairs.duke.edu/HDRL/housing calendar. But generally the halls do not close for some of the smaller breaks like fall break and Thanksgiving break. They will close for the semester break. So for winter break, which is at the end of the fall semester, and then at the end of the spring semester, moving into the summer. So you'd want to be prepared for that and to consult the housing calendar for specific dates. And also your RA will have information that they will share as you get closer to that, but you can also ask them really early on and they can get the answer for you. But that calendar is very helpful.
Speaking of breaks, when do signups for the Thanksgiving break airport shuttles open? Has that been announced yet?
I'm not really sure what that's referring to. Do you know, Ezra?
I don't think so. No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. I'm not aware of these. That would be, I believe it's through parking though, parking and transportation. So I would consult them. Their contact info is 919-684-2218. I don't believe these dates are, I'm on their website, again, Google. Actually, it looks like they do have a shuttle schedule out there. So if you go to parking.duke.edu, and then in the buses and vans section, there's a space where it says RDU, I believe, which is the local airport shuttle. Yeah, there's a nice picture of a plane, and that will indicate to click there. So I would consult that. It looks like some schedules are up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like they have it for fall break, Thanksgiving break, and spring break.
Nice. Even better.
Yes. And you have to reserve them. So as soon as you know your travel plans, I would go ahead and reserve them.
And I will just also emphasize back to the housing question. You will get emails, whether they're from your residence coordinator, who are the full-time professional staff who oversee the resident assistants and the RAs in your building and such, about specific move out instructions, things you have to do to prepare your room, the dates, the times, all of that information. So just be paying close attention as you get that information, but they're always really clear about just the different processes and such that you'll have to follow in order to facilitate your move-ins and your move-outs, and everything in between. So they're wonderful.
Yeah. Do students have access to HVAC?
HVAC? Is that, what is HVAC? This is a little bit beyond my scope, I think. Heating and air conditioning is HVAC. Yeah, the dorms are, I think with this question you can clarify, the dorms are all heated and they're all air conditioned in some way, whether that's central air or it's a window unit. So yes, they're definitely heated and they're definitely cool. You don't always have like 100% control, particularly when the heat comes on. That's generally a building-wide thing. But again, your residence coordinator, your RA, or the housing office here, which we're actually located, we're here right now at Southgate Residence Hall around the left side of the building. That's where you would also go if you get locked out or if you lost your key and you have to get a new key made. This will be the place you would stop in and get those answers to those questions.
All right, so I think there's a big chunk of what we do that has not been asked yet or addressed yet, but that's pre-orientation programs. So, I mean, we can kind of tag team this, but what would you like students to know about pre-os?
Well, I think what I really want everyone to know about pre-orientation programs is that while they're awesome opportunities and we love them and they're great, only about 20% of the class participates in a pre-orientation program, really just due to the space capacity that we have for each of our programs. So if you're sitting there and you either didn't do a pre-orientation program, you didn't even apply because you had other plans or weren't interested, or you applied and maybe didn't get the one you wanted or had to change your plan and had to not participate, or you didn't get a spot in for whatever reason, know that like that's not the end all be all for your community here at Duke. It sometimes can feel that way for some students when you get to campus because there are some of these groups that seem to have like all these best friends and all this like community, and you might feel a little bit behind. Know that like that's not really 100% true all the time.
Yeah.
Those students are just trying to figure everything out just like you. And so keep yourself open to meeting new people and also understanding that there are going to be so many opportunities and programs that you get to participate in here at Duke. And just not doing a pre-orientation program is never going to hinder like your overall experience.
Yeah.
So even if it feels like that in the moment. I know so many students too who like didn't do one and wound up opening some other door, and they're like, wow, I'm glad that didn't happen because I wound up getting really involved in this instead. And so if you're a student who is part of a pre-orientation program, what I would encourage you to do is embrace that experience, enjoy it, have fun, but also when the rest of your class comes on August 20th, be open to others and not just sticking to your one group. And that's kind of a good piece of advice for your whole time at Duke, that the friends that you make the first week, the first, year, the first 3 years, those don't have to be your friends, the only friends that you have. So keep your circles open, because you never know who you're going to meet and how they're going to make an impact on you and vice versa.
That's great advice.
If you have logistical questions related to free orientation programs, because they can be a little bit tricky to navigate about move-in and what's going on, please don't hesitate to email us either at studentorientation@duke.edu. You could call us at 919-684-3511. Casey Terrell is the advisor for Project Waves and Project Wild.
Yep.
I, Nicole Ponticorvo, I'm the main advisor for Project Search, Build, and Arts. And then Jordan Hale, the director of our office and associate dean, is the advisor for Project Edge, and also can help out with Project Change. Project Change is run through the Keenan Institute for Ethics, so it's a little bit different than the rest. So you also may want to just reach right out to Christian Fernie in the Keenan Institute for Ethics. But we are here. If you don't remember any of that or you don't listen to this recording, just start with our office and we'll find the right person to help you out.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of really good things. I think I would just say if anything comes up, please let our office know. If you need any accommodations or have any concerns about participating in any of the move-in day activities, the orientation week activities, reach out to our office and new student programs, and we'll help make things work to the best of our abilities. Our orientation schedule, it is online right now. It will also be part of the Duke Guides app, so it'll be right on your smartphone. It's not up yet, so you don't have to go downloading it quite yet, but just know that we'll also have the schedule at your fingertips, and that'll be a place where we can provide, if any changes happen, provide updates related to that right to you. So be on the lookout for things like that. And then I would say, just in general, kind of knowing your limits and pacing yourself throughout orientation week. A lot of new information is going to be thrown at you. A lot of it, and it's important. A lot of social interactions are going to happen. You're going to be meeting so many people, but know when you need to maybe take a little bit of time for yourself. During like those optional activities, like maybe you don't go to all of them. Like maybe you pick one, or maybe you just go for a little bit and then go home and relax. And try to kind of navigate that space in a way that works for you, and use your FAQ, your first year advisory counselor, or your RA, your resident assistant, to help you navigate that, because they can provide a lot of really great insight. And know your values, there's going to be a lot of different activities and things that other students might do, and it doesn't mean you have to engage in it. So know that you get to dictate your experience, and that's really exciting. And we're all here to support you in that.
Yeah. And I think also when creating the orientation schedule, we try to build in time for you to have some downtime and have some breaks. And that's intentional. That wasn't just because we couldn't find something to fill another hour or whatever. We want to give you breaks because we want you to be able to breathe and relax and process all of the information that we're throwing at you, and also have time to develop relationships organically. So definitely I echo what Nicole said, listen to yourself. If you don't want to go to something, you might have FOMO, but it'll be okay. I know some of the friends that I made was because I didn't go to a social event and just found someone sitting down and we started talking, and now we're still friends. So definitely listen to yourself. Use those breaks, use that downtime to breathe and just relax, because orientation week it's a long week, and it can be really draining. It's really exciting, but there's so much going on, and there's so much stimulation. So definitely take any breaks you need, and take advantage of that downtime for sure. Ezra, do you have any advice on your side?
I would just say, if you're interested in the international orientation, if you think this is something you can benefit from, whether you identify as an international student or not, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions, walk you through the schedule and what we will be doing. So definitely feel free to reach out to me at esra.mason@duke.edu. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. You may find out that maybe that's something you're interested in and you would like to join us.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, that piece of, like, you don't have to identify as an international
Exactly,
student.
because the term international is a very diverse concept. So not every student that comes to the orientation is on a visa necessarily. There are students who are American citizens, but they may not have gone to high school in the United States, or they may have other really diverse and international backgrounds. So this is really open to any student who would like to interact with a community, move in earlier, and do some other activities and have some downtime before the O week. So yeah.
Great. And we're going to sneak in one last question because I realized that I did not ask it before. Is it true that only one vehicle is allowed per student on move-in day? I believe the answer is
Great.
yes.
Yeah, and I responded, I think, to this person individually, but
awesome.
generally we encourage one vehicle at a time because you'll need that parking pass. You could do multiple trips, so once you unload, you can reload and then come back in line within your move-in slot. You can also, I'd probably more strongly recommend that you bring those essential things, and then if you need to do like multiple trips later to come after all of the move-in shifts have ended, really post 4 p.m. That'll be when things are a little bit more quiet. But if you want to, I would definitely bring the heavier stuff when you come through the main line so that you can have help carrying those items.
Great. All right. Well, it is 5 o'clock.
Somewhere.
Well, here's Sarah. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for asking really good questions. Like I said before, we've been recording this, and so we'll be posting it online to our YouTube channel. We'll drop it in the Facebook group. Yeah, the Facebook group. That way, if you want to revisit anything we talked about, or if you came in late, left early, any of that good stuff, you'll still be able to access it. I've said it before, and I will say it again. We are so excited to welcome you. There are so many people here at Duke who are excited to see you and greet you and get to know you better. So if you have any questions, please don't come with any questions unanswered. So whether that's reaching out to the student orientation at duke.edu, we can get you plugged in and direct you to the places that you can get your responses. So please reach out if you think of anything else. Use the Facebook page. Yeah, we're excited to meet you all soon. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Welcome to Duke.
Yeah.